RuneScape. I can't remember which episode this is because it's been a few months since we've done the last one. And the last one was with Rhino Tanks as a guest. And we have Max Ride 10,000, the famous, back from the days of RSP, here with us.
Ha! What's going on, guys? You thought you could get rid of me?
Alright, so, he is here for a special reason this time, and not just because he's just enjoyable to hear. So, we'll cover that later in the episode. But today, the main topic I actually want to talk about is Jagex finally declaring that the next Elven quest is going to be a good possibility now.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why I know this, if anyone had seen the recent RuneScape 3 Q&A, there was actually a question in regards to the elves, and ModMark stated that he would love to throw an elven city at his development team now, that their engine is able to do what they wanted it to, and months back, he had actually stated something else, that the reason why they weren't doing the elven city yet or the next quest in the Biohazard quest series was that the quest actually was supposed to look really good, and they couldn't do that with their current engine. So I think they had RuneScape 3 in mind when they were saying that. And now that RuneScape 3 is coming close to launch, we probably don't see them developing it right now because they need a lot of developers working on the RuneScape 3's game. But they probably will be as soon as that thing is released. Which
Which
means
is
that
gonna be awesome.
which means we'll finally see another elf quest coming in either early or mid 2014. The latest
Jeez.
would be late 2014.
So, what do you want to see in the next Elf Quest?
Well, I think we've actually covered this a long time ago. Maybe even in episode 8. So if you guys haven't seen episode 8, I recommend you go check that out. But we will cover it again because it's actually been a while. I expect to see something happen to King Lanthus, who's actually the king of Ardougne right now. And this is going to be a spoiler warning here. So anyone who hasn't done these quests and doesn't want to know the storyline, I highly suggest you mute for about 5 minutes or so. And then...
Go.
Yeah. So, what actually I'm expecting, or hoping to see, is that people find out that King Lanthus and the entire plague is not real. And that it was all a heist so he could get into the Crystal City. And I forgot why he wanted to get into the Crystal City. It's been a long time and I have to brush up on that quest series again. But then they find the whole cover-up of him attempting to kill King Tyrannus, which you supposedly do, but you never see him actually die. So what I'm expecting to see is that we'll actually see King Tyrannus, and he'll help you get the Elven Crystal, which King Lanthus would be holding on to, which mean the mourners, who are actually the elves in suits, that's the only reason they're working with the king, is because he has the reverted city in his pocket, so to speak.
He literally has them in its pocket.
So it would be really cool if this was like Regicide 2 or something. That'd just be really awesome.
Regicide harder.
Yeah.
Regicide 2. Coming to actually, come to think of it, coming to a game state near you. This summer, experience the thrilling conclusion of the Elven Quests.
Yeah, and one thing that's really important to know with the Elven Quest series is that the next quest will actually show the Elven City. Modded Chris L has stated himself, I want to make sure that this place is well known and well used by people who are able to access it, and he talked about there being all sorts of skilling spots for smithing and stuff, or other skills, and a second Grand Exchange.
Oh my god! Second
I
GE!
know, I would be spending like all my time in the Elven area from there on in. It will also come out with an achievement diary, and that's gonna be pretty cool. So, and that pretty much covers the Elven Quest.
Or at least
All
what
that
you want
kind
to
of,
see in it.
yeah, all the build up on it. Is there anything that you in particular would want to see?
I don't know, some exposition on what the elves believe in, their actual like discussions of their weird ass god.
You
Because
kind of get some of that with the new
isn't she like a
God
crystal or
Emissary.
something?
Huh?
Isn't she like a crystal or something?
Yeah, she kind of is. But yeah, you kind of get that explained from the God Emissary for her.
So you should follow mine because he, she, it is a crystal.
All
Got
right.
the bling.
So, speaking of God Emissaries, this is an update that came out recently that we did not cover because our last podcast was way long ago. I think like just a couple months after the release of the EOC. And I
Yeah.
know that a lot of people are actually starting to like the podcast because it's literally something that you can just put on YouTube and you can play RuneScape or do whatever it is you want to do.
You
And
don't need to have two monitors to enjoy it.
yeah, although the new graphic might be pretty cool. So
Indeed.
quick check out the graphic. All right, now let's get back to it. Okay, so um, what do you think of the God Emissary update? I mean, you haven't gotten into any of their tasks that they assign to you, but as far as lore goes and depth, what do you think?
Armadillo! Armadillo! I have no idea if that's the right way to pronounce that bird freak's name, but yeah. I can't stand Saradomin because he's an asshole. I can't stand basically none of the pseudo evil gods. I can't stand them because I can't stand being on, you know, the wrong side of morality. And the elves are just too pussyfoot. I think that covers everything except for the godless, which are just eh. They seem like the flat world atheists to me.
Hold on.
But yeah, I'm interested into seeing what happens with the God emissaries. I hope that there is like I don't know, maybe some interclan action. Maybe set up a God emissaries minigame where it's just people like throwing down or something in a small arena, resenting like their champions of each god.
Yeah.
I think that'd be interesting. Maybe do some god specific quests.
Oh, they are actually doing a string of about 15 god quests, and the first one came out recently, which was the World Wakes.
Uh, no, what I'm talking about is like god specific quests. So like for Armadillo,
So
you
if you're
know,
aligned with Armadillo, you would get a set of quests.
maybe not a set or just one or two or something. Like the bird dude, remember him saying he's like the very last of our people? And my first comment was, well, isn't a bunch of them trapped in the God Wars?
Yeah.
You'd think they could be like, yo, bro, you should really check out the outside world. It's gotten kind of crazy.
Yeah, well, I'm really excited for the God Quest series to actually come out with another spoiler alert, so here we go again.
Spoiler.
But everyone should know this by now because honestly, if you have Guthix crying trees, it should kind of tell you something. Guthix is dead, so but with Saliske coming into power as a god and having his own emissary, we can definitely see maybe a second God Wars coming in this quest series. I don't know if they would go that far, but I know that you're basically trying to figure out your powers that Guthix kind of bestowed upon you to protect the world from gods.
Sup, bro? You can throw down with gods.
Yeah. And I think that the way that these quests should be taken is they should follow like one specific narrative, and I don't think they should branch out too heavily on each of the gods because then all of a sudden we're going to see some gods get singled out pretty badly because there's a lot of gods out there.
the term God, when you've got people who can ascend to truly ludicrous levels of power, is really nebulous.
All right. So, um, I know that you haven't done a lot of the new quests. I highly recommend you try out World Awakes. Um, that's really important, and the only quest requirement is I don't remember the combat level for it, but it's a really good idea to do that quest if you can. And it will also show you kind of what quests are like nowadays because it's a newer one released.
Awesome.
All right. So this brings up to the next point that I want to talk about in this show. Um, Recently, I've come for a small series in regards to Max Ride. This series is going to actually cover the changes of RuneScape because I know a lot of people really don't like the changes recently, and I know that there's people out there that actually do like it too. I'm personally one of those people. I do like the updates that have happened to the game, especially this year with it being a lot more player oriented. And I think the step of into RuneScape 3 and a lore filled game is more the direction I want to go. So, to the point here, I went ahead and set Max Ride up with some membership. He played about 3 or 4 years ago.
Well, yeah, 3 or 4 years ago is the point where I would say I quit out. I mean, I did log in one last time in like the last year or 2 years, uh, 506 days ago.
Yeah.
So I have not been on in a super long time.
So the main point of this actual little series here is to get an honest opinion from someone who left the game because they did not like how the combat system worked and they didn't like how the experience rates worked. Now, over the past 4 years, we've seen both of these things change drastically, and a lot of people don't like that because they feel that it kind of takes away from the accomplishment of that 99 that they work so hard to get. You know, and there's a lot of truth to that, but if you guys take a minute to think that Jagex is changing the game to become a game that's not something that you have to grind out forever to actually
Literally
get really good
forever.
at it, and they're making a game that has a combat system that is very immersive, and once you actually start to actually piece things together, you'll find out that there actually are a lot of things unique and kind of fun about the game, including all these new monsters that are being added that have certain methods of killing them and certain abilities that work good against them. I really like that. So, Max Ride has not played for around 4 years. If you date that back, that's pretty much around like 2008-ish, 2009-ish, and a lot has changed since then. So this series is about your opinions on how the game has changed and whether you like it or not.
Awesome. Well, I'll give you a dose right now. So far, I absolutely love what they've done with the transportation of having the basic lodestones. I really, really did not appreciate having to tote around a bunch of law runes to stupid places where I just sit there and teleport the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, the lodestones, a lot of people are like, oh, this game is way too easy now. But really, it's kind of
It's not
tedious to go
easy.
around.
It's cutting the time out.
Yeah, it just gets rid of time that's unnecessary to go certain places, and yeah, it kind of detracts from the fun in the game. And you know, if you want to go and run from place to place, you are certainly able to do so. And lodestones, they do still have home teleport speed, so they can be interrupted, and that makes them not efficient if you actually want to use them like you would a regular teleport, you know?
Yeah, what people must understand is grinding is not hard. As a matter of fact, it is a very lack of definition of hard. It's just a test on your patience. And any improvement on grinding, well, especially in RuneScape, which was so notorious for it, is a great, great increase in the game's favor.
Hmm. So, um, now I've been doing some Slayer for a long time recently. I mean, I've gotten my Slayer literally from the lower 60s just a few months ago, all the way to 92 now. And it just goes to show how much faster things go and how much more enjoyable they are. Like, I didn't think that I was going to go from level 92 to 93 defense in literally one night, but I found myself really close, and I'm just like, oh, I might as well get it. Because of how fast skilling
Hashtag
actually goes,
YOLO.
and how fast Slayer goes. You know, they speed up this EXP rates so people can get to that higher level content, and their game isn't limited to them. You don't want to have a game that is limited to people for years because they can't get there. And getting
Yeah,
rid of a grind just really takes away from all the boring moments of RuneScape and really adds to what's actually fun in the game.
and what I found about RuneScape when I was first playing, the early levels were the funnest because you'd be getting levels left and right. They did that precisely long enough as it took for me to get hooked by it. That is a vicious business practice, and well, it is what is expected in an MMO. RuneScape did it to such an extreme.
Yeah, and that's actually an interesting point that I never thought of. Like, they do they have the skills at such a fast rate towards the beginning where you're just like, wow, this is great, I'm getting so good. And then all of a sudden you're hooked and you just want to keep gaining levels, but it keeps getting slower and slower until you're just like, oh god, just one more
It
level.
it becomes a chore instead of an entertainment activity.
Mhm. So, I'm really glad that they're changing that. Now, I know that you're going through the Combat Academy. Don't worry, everyone hates the Combat Academy. But
I just want my tab back. Ugh.
I'm really interested to see how your month of membership goes. We're going to be hearing from Max Ride about once a week from a vlog from him,
Indeed.
and we'll just basically get an update on his overall opinions on it. And he's obviously going to become a lot more educated on how the game actually performs as time progresses.
Mm-hmm. And with fresh new intake, I have a job. I have college. I have a life. Let's see if RuneScape can keep me entertained long enough where I just don't just say, you know what, I'd rather just go replay Dishonored.
Mhm. Like that's one thing for me. Like, I wouldn't be playing RuneScape anymore if I didn't enjoy it, because I don't have as much time on my hands as I used to, cuz I'm working 40 plus hours a week now, and I also have college. Max Ride and I are actually in a couple of the same classes at our college,
Yeah,
which
it's
is
weird.
yeah, it's going to be kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Um and I still find it fun, and I make videos on it because I'm really passionate about the game. So that pretty much covers that section. So I hope you guys really like that. In future news, we're gonna cover a couple other things. It's been a long time since we've had a question segment, so I'm gonna fill you in on how we do that, because we don't have any questions this week. We probably will next week. So here's how you can submit your questions so we read them off on the show. You can send the Daily Dungeon channel a private message with your question on it, and make sure you have your RuneScape name on there. If you don't have your RuneScape name on your question, we cannot help you if you ask for help in certain skills and not give us your level. Um, Another thing, please don't ask us personal questions. And if you also have questions, we will also read through the comment section of the previous podcast, and take those as well.
Yeah. But please don't stick anything too inappropriate. I don't want to hear how you're going to, well, do certain ungodly things to my anus with a chainsaw.
Okay.
I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Okay. We're also going to possibly bring back the lightning round. I don't know, but we have one other person who is going to be on this podcast quite frequently. His name is Barracuda X. He actually goes by a lot of names. I don't know which name he wants to go by for the podcast,
Ooh,
but
Barracuda.
yep. He's going to be on next time. He was originally going to be on this episode, but I really want to get this episode out of the way so we can actually cover a lot of more interesting things next time, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Alright. So,
Yeah.
and to finish off for this episode, I know it's a short episode this time, but I want to thank you guys all for watching, and be sure to check in tomorrow because I'm going to have my next maxing video up. And I also got a lot of questions on what happened to my Road to Epic Next series. It is not long and forgotten. It's just my partner Bubbles is on vacation right now. And you okay?
Yeah, that's just really funny.
Okay. Well, he's on vacation right now, and when he gets back, we will be working pretty hard on getting some next kills, and that will complete the series. So the next episode will actually complete the series. I did not forget it. So anyone who thinks I just dropped the series, I did not drop the series. And I think that covers everything. I saw a lot of love on the Dungeoneering guide, so I did a good job on that, I guess. But that pretty much covers everything for now. Alright.
Yep. So,
Yep, we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.
thanks for watching. Live long and prosper. Friendship is magic. And let's go kill some gods.